in the studio, but again, can't wait to watch this kickoff.
Let's begin our second best of 3 here at the Mid-Season Cup 2025 here at the Esports World Cup live in Riyadh. CFU will be battling against ONIC from the blue side as ONIC will attack from the red. It's going to be a purple start for both of these junglers, but let's expound on the compositions, right? Because again, a very classic matchup we're seeing nowadays is Yi versus some form of tank-style jungler. And usually what happens is that Yi gets a couple levels ahead of their opponents.
Whoa, Sands flickers out, and that's a first blood for Opie. Keyboy will take a brunt of the damage, but he's going to be fine. Man, early start for CFU.
Very early start, and Boxy even committing the flicker to it. So really nicely done. Sing also using his Inspire pretty early on against Severo. He's trying to get an early lead. Severo just needs to survive.
Yeah. You know, going back to that as well, the YSS, I feel like in the main part is you always have that added benefit of vision, but then when you come to his rotation and his actual jungle speed, he should have an easy time against Detective here on the Fredgen, right?
Well, for the time being, as long as he doesn't get CC'd to the ground, right? If he gets hit by the energy eruption, that's when we start to have problems. As long as he maintains his traceless, it's all good, all fun and games. But now with the changes to the jungle, that it takes a little bit longer these days for these camps to respawn, there's a bit of dead air after the clear. And that's where mid suddenly becomes a huge priority. And CFU, they're ready for this, right? They've got Detective in position. Hopefully, Sans opens up the map, sees it, and now Keyboy getting attacked.
Okay, Keyboy gonna go ahead and slide on out. He's fine. The rest of the team's gonna respond, though. Kyrie will take a couple shots off, but again, that's a Fredrin. The turtle's up, though, so this is where we get to see how they play this out. As they get in position, you expect the Fredrin to have control of this. It's CFU that's actually going to zone out ONIC from this first objective, and it looks like that's going to be secured for CFU. Sands, once again, will find himself pretty low. Look how aggressive Opie and Detective and everyone else is being. They're going to force him off the purple buff. They go in. Keyboy falls. They get another. It's a double for Wadu. CFU knows the enemy, and they'll go ahead and duke it on out on this side of the jungle. A triple already for Wadu.
Beautifully played from CFU. You can just see the hours of scrimmage time that both CFU and ONIC ID have given to each other. And CFU recognize, hey, we've got to lead. We must press the advantage. Severo might find a solo kill. What? It just goes into the air, seeing out of range.
Oh, Severo, he's going to get just punished for that. I guess he thought he could pick up the kill, but doesn't have enough damage yet.
He should have been able to pick up the kill. It's just that last darkening shot didn't connect because Zing was just out of range. I think that Severo might have had to commit a flicker, but that would have felt so bad. Either way, he's still missing out on that solo kill. Kinda sucks. CFU now 5-0 against ONIC ID. This is going phenomenally for CFU Gaming.
Hey man, if it had anything to do with the war cry we heard earlier on, that might be the buff here for them in game 1. Already 2.4K ahead. And with this kind of lead, this is going to set things up really well into even the next turtle here. So ONIC, they're going to have to find themselves building up, you know, from this deficit early on. Now, can they do that with this lineup? It might have to be a pick-off, a flicker, an aggressive play. Once again, going to be able to find the mark on Kyrie as Kyrie falls. CFU once more. They're going to just jump in. They know the timings, too. They'll take the purple buff.
Amazing play. Really great from Boxy's side. He sees the traceless. The turtle bolt gets thrown from the mountain shocker. It misses. Boxy flickers in to yoink him and pull him out of position, knowing that he's got literally no battle spells to save him because he's the jungler. He has to take retribution. And with traceless on cooldown, it guarantees the kill with CFU Gaming corralling around that mid lane. It's working out perfectly, right? Every fight. Wait, hold on.
Oh, Boxy could be in trouble this time. Right now, enough damage. ONIC will get on the board. They might be in position to go ahead and secure themselves to an objective. They desperately need this from the game getting too out of hand. Swadu up on the front side. They're going to spot that out. He flickers forward with it onward and goes forward in. Two will fall from ONIC again. CFU is just on point with the fights and initiations, and now San's in trouble. He has nowhere to go. He does flicker around. A good setup, though, but still going to be alive. Now Detective on the backside gets a flicker out from Severo. He'll dodge that. But again, the objective going over to CFU.
Oh my goodness, Wadu is so good on these Earth Shatter flickers. He is a dangerous man when he has flicker in hand, making sure that Lupi basically was non-existent during that fight, right? He's supposed to be the one who buys time, but it gets chain CC to the ground. Right now, the coordination from CFU Gaming is immaculate.
Oh, again, this is a tough spot to be in for ONIC Indonesia. It looks like sometimes, you know, they're able to go ahead and convert something, but then that was just one setup, one kill that they were able to get. They don't really have that many tools to go for a pickoff in comparison to what CFU has.
That's completely true, right? Again, you're expecting Keyboy to kind of get into that position. However, in terms of like raw damage, it really boils down to Kyrie, right? He's going to be the early game damage for now. Sans, yes, he can do some damage, but he's not like overwhelming like a Farsa or in this case, the Kimmy. It's just not comparable. Even Severo to a certain degree, he's got a bit of damage, but he really needs his items. And in terms of tempo, CFU Gaming, because of that initial purple buff steal, they know exactly where Kyrie is going to be 90% of the time, and they're utilizing that information to make sure that ONIC ID don't have an opportunity to actually attack. See, even making sure that they lane swap to ensure, hey, they're going to be playing for that Lunox now. Wadu, if you can clear these lanes, that's perfect, because we're going to get T1 down bot side.
Yeah, just as you say it, that's going to be fallen here. They're going to get in position for this third turtle of the game, last one. I'm not sure how ONIC is going to play that, though. Now, this time around, Keyboy, once again, he'll have the flicker to go ahead and try to set things up, but that might still be the case if Kyrie can't get in position and you're too worried about going down for that fight. Okay, there goes... Keyboy doesn't have the ultimate anymore. So this is a tough one to go ahead and fight because, again, you're lacking that firepower, and the further behind you get in terms of this gold again, an initiation with a tsunami slam, they're going to force the fight anyway, but ONIC will try to fight back, and Appraiser's Wrath finds a couple, but the crossbow of Tang will find Keyboy. Sing picks up, Severo in trouble as well, can escape Wadu, and CFU Gaming continues to dominate.
God dang, man, CFU Gaming. They're not here to mess around. They want to make sure that they are sweeping the floor with ONIC ID. Every play they have made so far is so good. They initiate immediately, baiting out the last couple of ultimates from the side of ONIC. Most importantly, Sans one. The Fury of the Phoenix is such a powerful tool when you engage, but it's also a great disengage tool. However, at the end of it, Sing was able to get into that crossbow of Tank form to apply massive amounts of damage to ONIC ID, especially pre-8 minutes. So at this point, with a 6.8k lead about to turn into a 7k lead, CFU Gaming just need one more fight and one more tower to break into the 10k bracket.
This is insane of a lead and the start for CFU. But a phenomenal one at that, and Wadu has been locked in the entire game. Every single time he goes for that setup with the, if his flicker's available or not, he's on point with the Earth Shatters. Now they're going to fight in between the two turrets, forcing a flicker out, Tsunami Slam, easy pickup, Loopy falls. Meanwhile up top, Kyrie has no choice but to push in that tier 1 turret. They need something and anything, because right now CFU is taking everything. Tier 2 is going to fall in the mid lane as well. Everybody quite low from ONIC. They have no choice but just to watch.
Yep, CFU Gaming understand if we don't close out this game, the scaling from the side of ONIC ID is going to be a major problem down the line, especially with the Yi Xin on top of having the Lunox side by side. For now, if we have to break it down, I think that CFU Gaming, once they hit that 10k mark, it's going to be good. But the wave clear might be a little bit of an issue, right? CFU Gaming cannot start falling behind, and they can't let the game extend super late. The pickoff is going to begin again using tempo. Look at this.
Wow, traction pulse into Tsunami Slam. Able to find one. Keyboy will jump in, but it's just way too much damage. Overloading ONIC as another pickup here for CFU. And the Lord is up. Perfect timing. They're all up and alive and healthy. They'll make their way to the Lord.
Yeah, CFU Gaming making sure that every interaction with ONIC is a winning interaction. That's how this composition must progress forward. And ONIC just starved out a lot of their resources. Divide and conquer, says CFU, as they take this Lord while breaking the Holy Shielding.
Great juggling happening here from CFU. Very impressive once again. Start off to this best of 3 series. I think even ONIC is kind of just left wondering what's going on here. They don't, even if they try to stay under the turrets, they're forced to fight anyway. And that's why that Kalea from Boxy is so good. And this might be, again, the effect of Boxy going back into the roam role. allowing them to have that decision-making on their side. And what a great showcase it's been so far.
I think we really just, unfortunately, ONIC ID just doesn't have much of an answer to the early game. They just needed to not interact, but CFU Gaming said no, force them into their position, force them into a position where they have to interact with them all the time. They can't run away from these fights, and neither can they disengage. So therefore, ONIC ID
again. Boxy jumps in with a Tsunami Slam, finds Loopy after missing the traction pulse. OP's gonna pick up the kill anyway. Boxy finally goes down, but Kyrie quite low, could be in trouble. They're gonna clear out the wave, up bottom. Mid-turret already down, but they won't get more. CFU with a 12,000 gold lead. It looks like they're gonna stay a little bit longer, but ONIC might have been able to hold on a little bit longer for this game one.
I mean, the breathing room for ONIC ID is just running out. They're losing space. Wadu, keep your eyes on him. He's got Flicker.
Oh, Wadu. Brilliance is gonna be used. They're just trying to clear out the waves here as they do. So ONIC, despite everything else, will stay in this game.
That's a checkmate angle right now achieved by CFU Gaming. 12.3K, the biggest lead we've seen so far here at MSC 25. As we can see, even for ONIC Indonesia, how do they find an angle, right? Every single attack they have, there is some form of counterplay. Sing can go invulnerable with the crossbow of Tang, not to mention that she also has an inbuilt Purify, making it more effective against the raw CC coming out from the side of Indonesia. Boxy, whoever he picks off at this point is almost guaranteed to die. The damage coming in from OP is ridiculous. The stacks that he has, he's 6 and 10, 0 deaths.
Oof, again, Boxy, big enough threat. Jumps on in, traction pulse, gonna find multiple members! A great setup under the base turret! Loopy gonna be able to fall, and it's a wipeout, a maniac for OP! That's game one, dominant for CFU Gaming.
Holy cow, ONIC. They're going to be looking at that. It's like, okay, we deserve to lose that one. Our draft didn't have an early game plan, and every interaction we had for the first 5 minutes was just a losing one against CFU Gaming. I want to see how they're going to replicate this in game two.
It seems like ONIC cannot shake off whatever is up in the air here in Riyadh in MSC. But CFU, I want to focus on them. Draft, gameplay, everything, aggression, the hunger. They are just so good. That's literally all what's said in my note. CFU versus ONIC ID game one. Stomp. CFU so good.
That's basically what it came down to, man. Like, I'm sorry, I was not expecting this. This is not what I expected for game one. It was so dominant from CFU. They knew exactly where to be every single time.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly where the first stone was thrown, right? We saw that the early first bloods did come through. A couple of mistakes were being made, especially when it came down to the mid lane. But let's say, even if that first blood didn't even come through from the side of Sans, this purple buff would have inevitably still fallen into the hands of CFU, right? Decisions need to be made really quick. But CFU is, again, putting their foot on the pedal. I'm not going to give you the time to decide, right? You want to take your purple buff? I've already taken turtle, and now I'm in your face. You have to give this up. And that's what they do. Slow and steady, but they encroach on their territory.
Yeah, encroaching. It's like a slow encroachment. You know the aggression is coming. They're not going to throw everything right away. But again, CFU have drafted similarly to what Team Liquid did in game number one against Ultra Legends, where in this lineup of CFU, actually, if you look at it, it's 3 carries. The mid, the gold, and surprisingly enough, the Edith EXP lane, which was a really great pick in the second half.
Wadu's insane.
Wadu is good. He is really good at seeing these angles and really extending the lead, which is why, again, we saw ONIC get rid of the Arla, which kind of does the same thing, but a little more consistently and a little more often.
It's insane because the Edith, you wouldn't expect to get that kind of lead, but even when the flicker's down, like, you still have a window, which maybe some heroes, like even the Arlot, for example, doesn't have. You can just onward Earth Shatter in if you're, if you find the right mark.
Yeah, and every time Wadu shows up in the map against ONIC, it's like they can just hear, it's like, oh, call an ambulance for ONIC, because here comes Wadu. It's like,
I get it.
Dude, that man is... that Edith performance, it feels like it's been ages since we've seen an Edith like this.
I'm not gonna lie, it has been a while, and it used to be just like the classic, hey, how are we gonna sandbag this Phoveus who's dominating the meta? Edith was the go-to. But even so, can we talk about for a second OP on his performance?
Oh, let's go.
Because holy cow, he was walking out of that game untouched, didn't die a single time, max stacks on Sky Piercer, and was hitting some ridiculous traction pulses. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, that last one was really, really good. And just to remind everyone, OP, 8 months ago, was a roamer.
Yeah. And I love how the end video that we saw leading into this was like him saying, we're the contenders. Because, dude, what a statement game one was as the contenders.
It was so clean. It's so clean the way that they play it. And I love that from the side of CFU because it really shows maturity, but the level of polish that we saw on top of that, right? The fact that they aren't just throwing abilities, and that's another chant coming in from CFU. They are so amped up with this 21-3 victory.
I wonder what they had for breakfast. Something champions breakfast.
Do they usually have umali for breakfast, or is that just a dinner thing?
They really like the omelet station.
Oh, right, yeah. Like the omelets have been bangers to where we are staying, but an ultimate banger of performance, honestly, by CFU. No other way to put it. It was a stomp. It was very clear where their conditions were at, where their eyes were at. They looked at each individual lane, tick that box. Looked at the jungle, tick that box. And after that, it was just up to ONIC to, again, as you two repeated all throughout the guys, just find a way. But how can you? You're playing a lineup, ONIC, that, yes, excels mechanically. It really shows off what ONIC does as individuals. While CFU just show up, what's up?
Yeah.
And we'll just walk all over you.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem really just boils down to the draft, right? I mean, obviously certain mistakes in the early game could have been prevented, like Sans dying and, you know, Severo not getting in the trade back. I mean, if we take those out of the equation, I don't think it would have mattered that much, right? Severo dying here really doesn't matter because it requires him to at least have 3 to 4 items for him to be a dominant force when you're playing that Lunox, especially when you have Detective already building Radiant Armors, looking to get as much MR as possible. Same goes for Wadu here. But then we start to figure out that, wait a minute, their whole composition is designed around the late game. How do they even survive? Their wave clear isn't that good. Sans doesn't really scale on this Zetienne. I feel like all of this was engineered from the get-go in the draft from the side of CFU.
Yeah, and I think now what we're seeing, as we see that traction pulse hit again by OP there to close out this game. It really seems like CFU have walked into this with all of their years of knowledge of being able to scrim and play against ONIC. That's just what it feels like. It's like CFU at one point just snapped. It's like, guys, we're going up against ONIC. We know exactly what to do.
And that's the showcased in game one. You know, it's you know, not that they're actual enemies, but it's know thy enemy. I mean, they played and they scrimmed together so much. They're friends. They're friends. Know your friends. Maybe we can say that. Know your friends, you know. But they took it in the case of, we know exactly how to play against this. We know how to make this work. We know their timings and where they all want to be. But again, like, you saw how aggressive Boxy could be on a Kalea. I mean, the man was making moves that sometimes you don't really see from other Kaleas, and because of the fact that you have a traction pulse to back that up with, and then a lot of just other options, even the Fredrin, like the Fredrin alone, how do you find that window if you're ONIC to play against that?
A lot of questions up in the air here for ONIC of how they're going to be able to recover the series to force a game number 3. But all the spotlight, all the stars right now are aligning for CFU. Let's watch their journey heading into EWC at MSC.
សួស្តីអ្នកគ្នាខ្ញុំមកមកពី CFU Gaming លេងតែលើ role mid lane សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំមក MSC ឆ្នាំនេះហ្មងគឺដើម្បីខ្លួនឯងហើយនឹងក៏ដើម្បីសងសឹក SRG ដូចគ្នាសម្រាប់ការ MSC ហ្នឹងគឺខ្ញុំចាញ់ទៅលើ SRG ហ្នឹងវាឈឺចាប់ដែរព្រោះវាមិនតិចយើងឈ្នះហើយប៉ុន្តែយើងនៅតែចាញ់នៅម៉ាច់ហ្នឹងហើយខ្ញុំមក EWC នៅឆ្នាំនេះទីមួយក៏យើង focus លើ team ធ្វើម៉េចធ្វើឲ្យបានល្អជាងការ MSC ហើយរឿងចាញ់មុនហ្នឹងមកសងសឹកនៅសងសឹកហើយផ្លេចអត់កើតទេ
Considering how CFU were just so close to making it past Swiss stage in the M6 World Championship, and I think this version of CFU is better, I think they might actually surprise a lot of people.
សម្រាប់ការខ្ញុំដូរមកលេង mid ហ្នឹងគឺ gameplay នៅក្នុង game ហ្នឹងគឺវាមានការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរពីដំបូងគឺលេងអត់តន់តែពេលយូរទៅបានន័យថាធ្វើម៉េចលេងតន់គ្នាចាំបានថា gameplay ពេលខ្ញុំលេង mid ហ្នឹងគឺរៀងលឿនជាងមុនប៉ុន្តែស៊ីសងទៅលើការ stress ឬក៏ aggressive ហ្នឹងបានន័យថាស៊ីសងលើប្រាស់ដែរបាទយើងហ៊ានសម្រាប់ចិត្តតែលេងបែបខ្ញុំនៅមួយ CFU ហ្មង moment ដែលចាំជាងគេហ្មងគឺ season 7 នៅពេលពួកគាត់លើកពានព្រោះអីពេល season 4 season 5 season 6 ហ្នឹងគឺគាត់បានលើកពាននៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំចូលមកទៅពេលគាត់លើកពានទៅ moment ហ្នឹងទោះខ្ញុំវាអត់សុបាយចិត្តខ្លាំងតែនៅពេលខ្ញុំឃើញគ្នាខ្ញុំទាំងអស់គ្នាដែលលើកពានអញ្ចឹងគឺខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាសុបាយចិត្តមែនតើនៅតាមស្រាប់អារម្មណ៍ខ្ញុំពេលដែលបានមក EWC មានអារម្មណ៍ថាសុបាយចិត្តព្រោះអីគឺវាធំខ្លាំងមែនតើបានន័យថា world យកហ្មងសូម្បីតាគ្រប់ team ទាំងអស់ណាគេក៏ក្តីសម័យចង់មកឡើយហ្នឹង
That was CFU Gaming and their journey here heading into MSC at EWC. Yes, they are entering this as two-time, well, back-to-back champions for MPL Cambodia Season 7 and Season 8. Now, if you want to be a champion in your own right, again, there is our beautiful All-Star event happening in-game. It's going to be going all the way up until August 5th. Join the Dino Planet. By the way, there are a lot of people that actually don't know this. You can actually hop onto the Lord when it's marching and use that as a launching off point. There's like a little icon that you click. You can use that to jump. Those are just one of the many little hidden secrets that you actually... It's not a secret. It's in the, just read the patch notes. Just read the patch notes, y'all. But yeah, join us for the Dino Planet All-Star 2025 event. Lots of goodies. And don't forget to try to go get that Popple and Koopa skin. Are we at this point where... Do we really just have to tell ONIC to really switch things up in the draft? Is that the main problem they have to deal with right now? Okay, so it's a yes across the board.
Yes. Oh yeah, yes across the board, because again, what were they supposed to do in that game, right? With the early game already collapsing, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna take the punches until CFU decide not to crack open our crystal or inhibitors by, like, I don't know, pre-10 minutes into the game. I feel like that's being too generous.
I feel like it was one of those games where eventually when they found out there weren't any openings, they were just like, kind of like, let's get to the next one, you know? And yeah, because it was such a dominant game for CFU, and I think really when you've played enough against them, you probably just know, like, all right, we lost this draft, and we can't come back from this.
I feel like there has to be something here in all the knowledge that ONIC has against CFU that they can leverage, because as we discussed earlier, it feels like that's what CFU leveraged against ONIC. The fact that they knew the Phoveus was so integral to the lineup of ONIC that was their bridge for the mid to the late game. Because as we've discussed before, Zetian is utility-based. She can only do so much to facilitate that. The Phoveus, once shut down, you have nothing to help bridge you into the latter portion of the game.
I think that a lot of it just comes down to, like, Khalil, the fact that Khalil got so far down into the draft in the first place, right? I think that was one of the big things that I was trying to figure out, right? Because both sides were kind of like avoiding it. Then Kimmy as well. Kimmy, we saw the Farsa get banned out very early on within first phase, and then Kimmy was still a big question mark, and then Zetian was still there. So the question was like, wait, hold on. You already see the Fredrin, you know they want to go for the Kimmy anyways. Then it becomes a trade-off of, do we just completely shut down and collapse? Because they had to commit at least one ban to get rid of the CC. So that's why I feel that CFU really engineered it well. My big problem is when the Lunox popped up.
Yeah.
Was that
same sentiments?
Yeah, was that necessary to show it now? I get that, like, having a diverse amount of damage profile is always good, but you need something to kind of bridge you a little better, especially knowing that your mid lane is going to be really tough. Kalia, Kimmy, Badang, Wizetian, like, there is such a huge disparity there.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't expect the Lunox to get put in the gold lane. Maybe it could eventually work. You know, again, this is only our second match for MSC. But yeah, I think the Lunox was the big kind of kicker for me, where I was like, oh, I don't know if that was really good. I don't know if that's going to work out.
Part of me kind of wish that instead of that being a Lunox, although I didn't expect it to go with the gold, I wish they considered putting it in the mid lane instead. That could have been good with handling the pressure, but no point crying over spilled milk now. It's game number 2, and so far it's the exact same banning pattern that we saw from game number 1.
Yes, it's going to be the same banning pattern. I mean, it's exactly the same so far. It might start changing up here. Who knows? I don't know if CFU Gaming is the kind that's like, you know what? If we're going to press our advantage, we got to keep changing it up every single time. Or are they the kind of like, oh, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it?
Yeah, I think there's a farce ban, and I don't know. Maybe this. Okay, there's the difference. You ban out the 1-1. ONIC does that. So first priority here. Does CFU just go with, for example, the Kalea?
They could go with the Kalea. They could go start things off with the Zushin. I mean, there's a lot of really strong openers. Yishin Shin also is a pretty good opener. We'll see how they want to kind of play this out. Knowing CFU and what we saw off of game number 1, I wouldn't be too surprised if they want to go along the lines of like a Zushin opening and then eventually get Fredrin.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more in that book considering how much they love playing with that hero.
Oh, wait a minute. Arlet was also banned out in game number 1 from ONIC side. Arlet could be a strong opener as well for CFU.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's why it was banned out. But nope, CFU said, hey, our roaming goat is feeling it today. We're going to give him priority. He gets a Kalea.
Got mine for the day.
Got yours for the day. Hey, I'm pretty sure you could have... Bro, it's still a few more picks. You know what?
I've spent enough time with you analysts over here that I can I can bring up a couple picks.
Hey man, I'll
Give
tell
us
you
one
the
more.
secret. Just throw out a bunch of names and one of them's gonna hit, right?
Give us one more. Give us one more.
There's like
for this one.
130 heroes.
Exactly. just throw a bunch out. Just throw a wide net.
Fredrin.
Let's see if we'll get two. Let's see if we'll get two.
Oh, this is going to be 2 for 2 here. We got 27 more seconds until they start locking it in, right? I'm surprised that ONIC still is going to be more committal, but this time they changed their opening a little bit more. They're going to go with the Badang opening rather than just saying, hey, we get Fulvius, we win. You dash, we win.
Someone's out. That's 2 for the day for Daisu.
I'm
That's
dancing.
true.
I'm dancing.
He's
No,
gonna- hey, it's looking good, but
This
now,
is great.
I don't know if it's great just yet, right? Because now that they've locked in the Arlet, I would have preferred Arlet to be Jushin in this particular scenario.
Yeah.
But the Kalia kind of like forces it like we still need the damage profile, right?
Yeah.
We can wait for the Jushin later down the line, but then we look at Onyx side, they see Arlet. No matter where Arlet is gonna go, he's gonna end up in the EXP most likely. Badang goes very well against him. You get the Fulvius also does very well against the Arlet as well. I think holding the Badang here is great. There we go, the denial from Jushin. Well played.
And then do they ban out the Kimmy? Does ONIC ban out the Kimmy so this
Hell
doesn't
yeah.
get picked up? Because I feel like that would be the smart choice for CFU if that goes through.
Yeah, they got to. Because if ONIC are considering Kimmy for them, that's a little bit too greedy for my taste already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Essential's a good thing to build around. You save your gold lane pick for last to try to answer whatever CFU closes their draft with. I think they really just have to show their hand with the Roam EXP flex now already for pick number 4.
I'm all for it. I am all for it.
There it
Kimmy
is.
gets banned out as expected here. Now, from CFU side, I'm thinking of like different iterations of what types of damage they want to go through. Because there is the possibility that, hey, maybe Valentina might just be viable in this particular draft against ONIC because they might get some better ultimates down the line, or at the bare minimum, the Mountain Shocker. Zetian, really, really good. Because keep in mind, the pushback. She has a pushback. She has a stun. The only issue is that nobody really benefits from the MR shred. So it's not completely useless, but definitely underutilized in certain areas.
Right, so let's see what they're going to be considering for their ban. Lapu. They're trying to take away a comfort on Lupi. I believe in MPL Indonesia, Lupi was he was prolific with the Lapu for the previous season. So they're just respecting that. Interesting though that they decided to respect that before the Fulvius. Considering that Fulvius is one of those heroes that are very happy to go up against the R-Lot because he gets this passive effect a little bit faster with all the dashes he brings to the table.
I think that CFU need to get rid of Gathod. They get rid of the Gathod. They want to make sure that they can at least have a way to kind of keep on progressively escalating the fight rather than having to disengage as soon as the AOG comes out. That way, Boxy can still maintain a high level of priority. And keep in mind, technically, Kalia as well as Arla can swap roles as well, right?
Yeah,
You
they
throw the
could.
Kalia into the EXP and then Arla into the support.
That'd be an interesting swap if they did that. So the CC's
Wow.
last ban, XP lane focus for CFU, and then ONIC went with the gold lane focus to go ahead and narrow those options down. So
I think ONIC might be able to take a page out of the book from ONIC, the ONIC team that competed in MWI, and even Team Vitality. They can go Akai EXP. Sorry, I'm going to say it. I love Akai.
I'm down for
Okay.
it.
Yeah, against the R-Lot, because we've seen R-Lot struggle against Akai EXP in the past because once you go in, you get heavy spun out and you completely have your flow broken.
Yes, not to mention that his Akai's base damages in lane is actually pretty good. And
Yeah.
the fact that you develop your own natural shield already takes away the value from Arlet trying to trade freely against you. But here we go. We got the Fulvius. I think it's totally fine, right? You already have 2 dashes available. Well, arguably 3 dashes here. And that's totally okay, right? It just makes sure that the mid duo is confirmed. It's Badang plus the Jushin. Now, how does CFU respond to this, right? Because I'm expecting both Badang alongside with the Kalia to both take Concussive Blast. So really, it's the damage profile that's going to matter here. I think it's going to be the Zetian from the side of CFU. It makes sense. It's got the enough ways to kind of reset Arla to make him real strong. And considering how Wadu played in the previous game, I think he might just be another out.
and what about gold lane too? Because gold lane you still need a what's
you take a
left?
ranger,
Harith?
I
They go
guess.
whoa!
Oh.
I didn't think they would go with the Harith because I figured they would want some extra physical damage because this is I mean, you're lacking that, right? I mean, yeah, you have a little bit here, but profile-wise, and that's what we've been talking about throughout this entire draft, is you kind of expect, okay, gold lane, you're going to go with a physical damage dealer, but they go with the Harith instead. But let's not hate it, because we were talking about the Harith in the previous matchup, but Oheb proved us wrong.
feel like there's a confidence pick by CFU. They're
It
signaling
is.
to ONIC like, we know we can win this game, that we know we can win this before the 14-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to make sure that they could completely utilize every bit of Zetien's kit.
Yeah.
MR Shred, there is stun, there is a pushback, so every little bit of the kit is utilized. I thought maybe Granger, but again, here's where it gets dangerous, right? If Lupti gets far ahead, those dashes are going to start stacking up. He's going to get a lot of passive triggers, but there's a limit, right? If you have too many passive triggers, then you're not going to be able to do much. If
Exactly.
there's just enough, then you can keep consistently resetting.
Yeah, if you're only joining us now, again, CFU has the lead in this series. One more win puts them against Team Liquid for the qualification match heading into the playoffs here at MSC. Gideon, Naisu, let's go.
All right, thank you, Remar. Once again, you heard it here first. 1-0 against the Indonesian champions. Cambodia is looking to represent CFU. You hear it every single time. This time we got a visual on what that looks like. They are ready to play as we head on into the Land of Dawn for game number 2 in this best of 3 series. This is going to be a fun one. Detective on that blue side, Kyrie on that red side, both with a purple buff start.
Looking at this too, again, from game 1, CFU started on a roll right away. They took it to ONIC from minute 1. We'll see if they try to replicate that here. Might be a little bit different, but definitely I want to see if ONIC has an answer for Boxy specifically. And yes, OP doesn't have his hands on the Kimmy, but they've got a lot of crowd control to go ahead and use. You can already see Boxy being aggressive and just trying to give some information over here. And this will be a little bit different too for Wadu. Now that he's got his hands on this R-Lot. Taking a look at the emblems here too, they're still quite tanky enough. They've got some decent damage, a little bit of mystery shop there too. A lot of impure rages, of course. The CFU still wants to go ahead and be pretty aggressive throughout this game. A little 1v1 action. Severo though, this time around, the Bob, the Weave, the Rhapsody. There'll be a back forward. Whoa! Sands, though, this time gets first blood for ONIC.
Yep. So, in terms of the emblem setup, Keyboy decides not to take Concussive Blast, but instead wants to be able to kind of move a little bit faster with the help of the Quantum Charge. Helps with those rotates, helps to be able to move in and out of those fights. But more importantly, they don't actually want to push the waves. And Boxy, unfortunately, with that Concussive Blast, doesn't have a choice as they attack topside.
Oh, Boxy. Boxy goes aggressively, will flicker out, but gets taken down. Kyrie picking up a kill, so way better start for ONIC in game 2.
A much better start indeed. ONIC have adjusted their plan. You want to be aggressive, you want to punish your aggression, right? And at least for Severo, he's very comfortable in this Harris v Granger matchup. They played it for months because of the previous patch.
Yeah.
Now we go to the very first turtle.
First turtle still going to be CFU that starts it up. Wadu. Fury the Phoenix is going to be dropped down. Final Slash won't connect. They're going to jump in. Loopy, though, Infernal Blast. Infernal Pursuit. One down, still going to be on. Loopy in trouble, trying to get away. Goes in with a Dark Wave, gets enough health back, looking for OP, but finally will fall. CFU picking up a couple themselves, plus this objective, a hard-fought first turtle for the game.
Oh my god, Boxy. That was actually kind of sick. He jumps in, knowing that Lupti wants to get the passive stack on to Detective first so he can start using the Infernal Pursuit. Catches him mid-punch, and then the rest of the team chain CCs him. By the time he gets the Infernal Pursuit, Detective gets a free disengage. Let's watch this one more time, right? Because Detective is here. He gets pushed back, he sees Keyboy, and then Lupti gets knocked up and allows them to disengage properly because Sans can't cover Lupti on top of the fact that Keyboy is dead. So really good stuff here. It's these small moments from CFU which is making the difference.
Yeah, and in that, OP got taken out. Earlier on, he did have to burn the flicker, so ONIC will find something, and that's, you know, what you mentioned is anytime Keyboy can set things up, he'll go ahead and try to do that. Doesn't have a flicker available now too, but still ONIC holding on to a very minor lead. This is going to be one of those games too where the gold laners really play a part, as Severo has done a good job farming up. Sing as well hasn't gone down despite dealing with a lot of 1v1 pressure. This is like Gideon mentioned, the classic matchup that we're so used to seeing in the gold lane between these two heroes. So the teams for now are really just looking off pick-off potential, you know, around the rest of the map here.
Yeah, again, this is a very interesting matchup between these two gold laners, right? Because we've seen it many times, but it really boils down to the battle spells. Because now both sides don't have the flicker. It becomes a skill matchup, right? Severo must maintain a certain amount of distance to stay outside of the Zaman Force. Because if Zing dashes on top of Severo and commits hard enough, he will actually win out in this 1v1, right? Severo needs to make sure that he can poke out Zing and keep his health bar at a minimum, so even if he goes for the all-in, Severo with 2 Rhapsodies should be able to take him out.
Oh, Boxy gonna try to do something here. Purify's gonna be popped already, so Severo's gonna be fine. That is a battle spell down, so a little bit of an advantage right now for Sing to work on that Harith. We'll see if ONIC tries to go ahead and help out, but Turtle's gonna be the next focus for both teams here.
Yep, they're going to force out that top side, knowing that Severo doesn't have that Purify. Whoa!
Sans jumping in. We'll get the flicker out. Sing, though, gonna try to cut it off with the Zaman Force, so that's gonna be burned as well. A couple battle spells and ultimates, but meanwhile, the fight for this Turtle. ONIC has control. Wadu there, final slash, but Kyrie will secure the Turtle. Still gonna be breaking down the fight. Wadu gonna be in trouble, and Kyrie will get a kill as well. Takes a shot at Opie. I don't think you get anything more. Keyboy not going to burn that flicker for that. So focus for ONIC is the objective. They get a couple kills. They won't get this mid turret just yet.
Yeah, all this because Wadu just whiffed the ult. That's really what it boiled down to. If he hit that ult, it would be a different story. Because he was left out in the water and considering that the front line was getting shoved in from the side of ONIC ID, making sure that Detective couldn't cover that space, that's how ONIC ID were able to take this turtle for free. But now back into the gold lane, right? Again, a lot of resources are getting thrown up to this top side. The fact that Sans wasn't really part of that fight to begin with just goes to show how important it is for both gold laners to have some form of pressure, some form of a lead to really skew it in their favor.
So close here too, despite, other than the jungle, which is, I guess, to be expected when you get a lead like this in Kyrie. Again, Keyboy gonna be fine. Tsunami Slam won't land. Boxy punish this time, and a kill goes over to Severo. Still the Dark Wave. Loopy jumping in. Forceful Flicker. Fury of Phoenix will be used. No one else to follow through. So ONIC happy with 1.
Yep, really nicely done there. Making sure, hey, you Tsunami Slam. Okay, sure, not that big, not as big of a deal. Loopy just flickers on out of there. Instantly punished, knowing that Boxy still had his flicker on cooldown. So just really good tracking of the battle spells from ONIC ID, right? Both sides will find any little bit of advantage. T1 collapses down on bot side, but now we are starting to see the ball roll. I'm not sure how Kyrie is going to go, but it looks like he's going to go for the BOD. He's real greedy because he's also taking cooldown boots on top of it. And not to mention, Severo already with the Sky Piercer. This is where Zing has to be careful.
Is this just because of like a confidence play? Zing, wow, going forward, Severo. He saw ONIC, the rest of the members there, so he's just going to clear that out. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do much more, but that is no Zaman Force now available for this turtle. So ONIC might have enough of that information. Boxy's going to go ahead and take a look. I'm not sure if they're just going to rely on a Flannel Slash for this fight here. It's going to go for a little bit of a reset. Dark Wave. They go through. Zing going to have to join the fight. There's the final slash they were looking for. Fury the Phoenix dropping down. Keyboy, Tsunami Slam as well, but Kyrie still gets the turtle. Zing unleashing now, looking for Sans. Meanwhile, Loopy's going to be in trouble as well. Sans still up. The Zing can't get the last hit that he was looking for, but now it's Kyrie. Before he falls, he'll pick up a kill, and Wadu will survive. I don't think they're able to find Sans, though.
Wow, that fight. It didn't look like it started off well, but it worked out at the very end. I would love to see a replay of that fight one more time, because it really boiled down to Wadu jumps into the middle of the fight. Let's see how many people he catches with that final slash, right? He gets in there, the backline gets attacked, and that's where things start to snowball out of control. When both Zing and as well as Wadu are able to get their initial resets, because right now they're still pretty tanky, and there's not enough damage from the side of ONIC Indonesia to commit and spread it out and distribute it amongst a lot of spots.
Again, Wadu, I know we didn't get to see the entire play out, but he did a phenomenal job, too, at zoning Kyrie out. So Kyrie wasn't able to actually join some of that crucial moments of that fight. So, and then, survives it all after that with the flicker. So, great decision from CFU. So ONIC, they lose. They had about a 3,000 gold lead that they were working with. It's going to be whittled down pretty much to an even game here, at least economically. But right now, it's still ONIC with a little bit of a pressure lead, the way that they're playing around this, but I guess they've got to respect what CFU can throw at them, especially between Wadu and Boxy.
I mean, sure. I mean, the fights are looking good for CFU Gaming, but now, as you can see, the conversion isn't the most deadly, right? It's not like a 5k gold swing. It's only a 3k gold swing so far. And when we look at the items as already built, we're going into the second phases of the game. We're going into the mid game, right? BOD already complete for the side of Kyrie, and it looks like he wants to eventually build up to an endless battle. Lutpi, he's not even going for Thunderbolt at this point of time. He's literally anti-Cuirass. I'm going to be able to tank as much damage as possible. I really need to see the MR come through from him, and honestly, the anti-Cuirass is kind of strange. I would have liked to see him play the Thunderbelt from the get-go.
Yeah. Oh, early initiation for Boxy. Fury the Phoenix to follow. They get the beacon out from Sans. Sans, a little bit low here, still half health, but that's a whole lot from both sides utilized for this. Lord is for the taking. They're fighting for control. CFU, there's a final slash on Sans. Sans goes down. CFU, numbers advantage, gonna be jumping into the fight. Wadu's in trouble. Takes a couple hits from Severo, but Loopy has to flicker out as well. Severo has all the room in the world to move. A shot comes out and Loopy upholds them together, but he finally falls. And now Kyrie looking for Detective. Wants to line up the shot, but doesn't have it just yet.
Oh, he's trying.
Keyboy jumped in, but he's gonna get punished as Zing was waiting around the corner. An even fight for both.
Oh my goodness. All right, it's a battle of inches at this point, right? Both frontliners end up dying here. CFU, they do get a bit of a reset. Nobody's going to be able to take the Lord just yet. And the worst part is as these fights are going through, we start to see the micro plays, right? We start to see the efficiencies from ONIC's side. Yeah, I'm down 2 kills, but look at Sakeva's Vera and as well as Kyrie's damage. They're through the roof. They're topping the charts right now. And even Lutpi, without any damage items, is still able to provide and contribute. The worst part about this is the fact that Detective is 2 levels down. They don't really want to take this Lord. They really want to fight ONIC because they know they will lose a 50-50.
Oh, final slash gonna be used again. Keyboy can be in trouble. Keyboy out of the picture. Still gonna be breaking out. Wadu goes down next. Loopy also half health. Falls to Zing. Now they're gonna be looking at a huge Appraiser's Wrath on Severo. Will force him back, but the Lantern Flare will give a double to Severo. Now, CFU has no choice but to back off of this. Kyrie's still up, but they're gonna fight under the mid lane turret. Sans in trouble, but they'll punish him anyway. And Kyrie now looking for another. They wipe him out. A great fight for ONIC.
Down to the wire. Sans able to get that final pickup, allowing Kyrie to come in and run through the rest of them. Even Severo able to stack back up. This is a fully built, fully scaled Yi Shin. Level 15, his ult is on a short cooldown. Let's watch this one more time, right? Because this fight all started with Wadu actually picking off Keyboy and not one of the big damage dealers, which is what we saw the last time, right? We saw Severo dying early in that previous fight, but as this progressed, you notice they can actually kite 4 days.
Yeah.
There is no means for CFU to really extend their lead without the Arlet. Detective is great at planting his foot down and being an immovable object and slowly take space, but cannot reach further than it.
I think even that, when you get a glimpse of them, you know, still pressing on the gas in the mid lane, it's like, you know, you don't convert that kill on Sans, you are going to get severely punished, and that's what we saw there. Even then, Sans able to protect Severo enough to give him that opportunity to survive that whole thing was great teamwork there. So this now leads them to this Lord. It's going to be marching towards that mid lane. You can see the stacks here too for Severo.
So good. 560 natural stacks. 46 on the Sky Piercer. And now with this Lord, they're hoping to get as many inhibitors as possible. Keep in mind, they have the better sieging composition. CFU, if they want to take space, somebody has to commit.
Okay, they'll clear it out. Seal's going to be used. It looks like they want to fight. Boxy's giving them a call. Retri's going to be used from Detective. Boxy jumps in. Tsunami Slam. No one to target. Fury the Phoenix already dropped down. ONIC might choose to counterplay into this. Loopy with a Dark Wave. Final slash going to bring Loopy. He goes under the turret. A great combination. ONIC down 1 member. Still going to be looking for the fight. Severo will keep OP in check. Zing. Very aggressive, but CFU will just find 1.
Nicely done by Detective. He saw that bar full. He knew that Lupe was going to come out of the out of the taunted state. And immediately, as soon as he made the mistake of pressing his auto attack, Detective hops over the wall to pull him underneath the tower. That's the way CFU Gaming, they understand they've got a shark on their logo for a reason. They are fishing for ONIC ID.
It reminds me of what LaFell mentioned about sharks and the noise they make. But, you know, yeah, that's it, that glimpse of CFU. It's really the timing they need. We do see this, the Holy Crystal and the Divine Glaive are there now for Zing, and I feel like, you know, he's pretty aggressive, and you can rely on the Purify here, but maybe that's just the way CFU wants to play it out. I think even as we get up to the next Lord here in about 40 seconds, still it's, you know, they got to be able to withstand that initial kind of onslaught from ONIC. They've been the ones, CFU, from game 1 to now even game 2, despite even being down, to start these fights. I don't know if it would change much for them if they let ONIC be the ones to get the first get-go on it.
I don't think they can afford it right now, mainly because Detective is leveled down on Kyrie. And we know that with these world-class junglers, that one level difference really is the difference maker.
Detective.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're going to force a fight anyway. Final slash already used under the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Still going to be looking for more. Detective finally falls. Sing sees multiple low health bars, but Severo just unleashes. Keyboy jumps on in. They're going to be able to take out Zing, but it's a double for Opie. A trade already 3 for 2. And ONIC still with Kyrie up. Do they go and take this Lord? They're so low here.
Yep, they are low, but Kyrie is going to heal up. There's no actually, I don't think if they're able to do the... Oh, wait, no, Kyrie should have enough damage, but he's going to let Severo do the tanking. So once he's got just enough health, he gets back in and they start switching places. So nicely done from the side of ONIC Indonesia. Let's look at that fight one more time, because I was surprised that they decided to fight here, of all places. Why would you do it so close to mid-tier 1?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if they are going to start a fight, maybe not there. That's not the best place. So even if they pick up a couple kills, ultimately they now have to deal with the Lord.
That was very upsetting. I think that's one of the bigger miscalculations coming in from the side of CFU game. And even though, to be fair, their initiation wasn't that bad. And I could definitely see an angle. But the problem is that mid-tier 1 is still available, and that's what takes away from that power position, hiding onto that mid-brush. Now, the siege is going to be a little tough, I'm not going to lie, but Opie did buy that Wishing Lantern. In terms of Zing, he's really strong, but he needs that space to take full advantage of that Examine Force so he can start chrono dashing around. Oh,
whoa! Boxy going to start the fight anyway. Keyboy gone. Lord's going to kind of march into the mid turret. It falls. But now ONIC, do they still want to fight this? Even down a member. Severo's at half health. Boxy going to jump in with Tidal Strike again. They're going to force the fight anyway. Beacon already going to be used from Sans, giving them the space to work with. They're going to be able to find Wadu. Wadu still has the immortality, but Zing now unleashing on Sans. They're going to be able to pick him up. It's a double already. But Kyrie comes back in, and Severo's still up. The immortality will not be enough. And now it's Kyrie and Severo still inside the base, and it's Opie and Detective. Woo! Does ONIC want to end this game here? They've got a little bit of this minion push.
Nah, they can't. They can't. Not yet. Unless they kill Opie right here. Detective, please stand in the right spot here. Severo's allowed to auto-attack, and same goes for Kyrie to the Crystal, but it does basically nothing as long as they maintain these waves.
They're going to go ahead and maintain it. Again, Detective going to watch out. Kyrie will go ahead and go for it anyway. Now they're going to work on the base, and that's going to be enough. Double kill for Severo. We're going to game 3.
Man, I definitely thought he had an opportunity to walk back into the fountain, but again, just not enough pressure. Well done. It really goes to show that Zetian doesn't really scale that well into the later stages of the game, but when you have Severo and as well as Kyrie on these heroes, holy cow. No frontliners, no problem. We'll just bulldoze through you.
Match of the day for a reason. And just when we thought we'd see CFU run away with it, ONIC gets it back. Then CFU gets it back from ONIC. Then ONIC eventually gets the death knell and gets the win. What a tremendous series, dictated by what is a signature of the Cambodian and Indonesian playstyle, team fighting.
It's really incredible the way that a lot of these fights came and the adjustments that were made. I think at some point, Severo and as well as Kyrie was doing his own thing. He was playing a little selfishly for sure. But Severo probably looked over at Loki and Keyboy is like, one of y'all got to die for me. Like as soon as that final slash is out of the way, I actually can play this video game.
Yeah, again, it was interesting to see the decisions that CFU made throughout the game. I feel like there was a couple moments where, you know, like this, when we saw this with Wadu, around some of the objective fights, that was really interesting the way they took it, and there was some brilliance to it too. But then, same thing. It's like you get through the game, and you still question, like, man, why'd you guys fight there? Why did Boxy go in for that Tsunami Slam?
Yeah, this game number 2 was a emotional and mechanical roller coaster. It was the highs of great job, good thing you did that, to why the heck did you do that? Back and forth, and that's the type of action that I personally like to see, where you got to see members of CFU shine at the right time and then falter and then get punished by ONIC. But then the same thing could be said for ONIC. I feel like at this point I got like, we aren't unanimous here, where we just gotta say you just really gotta sharpen up some of the decision making in the team fights for both teams.
Hey, I mean, it's overheat, big overheats coming in, specifically from CFU more than it is for ONIC. I feel like ONIC naturally were more consistently making the better decisions. I think it just came down to like a couple of micro mistakes of like, oh no, I have full charge, I am Phobius, I accidentally hop over the wall, I shouldn't have been under tier 2, please somebody save me, sort of scenarios like that.
Yeah, that was a great mechanical call by Detective. To the fact that he knew that enhanced basic attack of the Phobius that would instantly be like we call it the shoulder tackle, would come through. So he's like, all right, let me just quickly press my dash past the wall so that he carries on over and then he gets punished. But then on the side of ONIC, you saw that at some point, it seems like a computer switch flicked into the brains of Savero and Kyrie. It's like, these are very specific skills I need to watch out for. Watch us maximize our dashes to avoid them.
Even looking at the breakdown here of the game, like, I would say this is quite a stark difference from game 1, obviously. ONIC had a great time coming in this game. It was relatively, I would still say, sided towards ONIC, but there was clearly moments where CFU was winning portions of that game. It's just unfortunate for them because, and I don't know if even the Harith seemed to actually work out in some of the team fights, but then it's like, what if it was something different, you know? But I think, again, that interaction between having the magic penetration that you get with the Zetian, but then you have the Harith, it was the plan. And it was just unfortunate that even at some times they were down, you know, a good few thousand gold. So that could have changed the course of some of those earlier team fights even so. But nonetheless, still very interesting. Yeah, like you said, emotional kind of roller coaster of a game for game 2.
Yeah, and I was talking about it with the talents at the back. I mentioned something where this wasn't a game won by the draft or dictated by the draft. It was dictated in the battle preparation. The 2 purifies on the side of ONIC. She changed things up with the flow of battle for CFU, who were so pick-off dependent in the first game. That now the second game, you have the Badang is still there, yes, who can just CC immune by popping up the ultimate. But the fact that some of your key figures have ways to just cleanse out the crowd control initiated by Boxer. You could see that CFU were a little bit uncomfortable in the initial phases of an engagement.
Yeah, I think it really came down to like, you had to think about these fights like chess, and I think that's the hardest part because it's a stacking effect. When somebody throws out their first ability, then you have to kind of figure out what are the next things that are going to be traded out for resources, right? If I get a good Appraiser's Wrath here, if I get an Energy Eruption, what happens afterwards? And I think a lot of the time, we did see that, you know, CFU understood the assignment, assuming that Wadu was able to get a good final slash on either of their back targets, whether it be Sans, whether it be Kyrie or Severo. But then you see the adjustments coming in from ONIC, right? As they adjusted, Sans doesn't mind getting pushed forward as long as he has his Purify and his Halt. Kyrie is the one who must not be caught. He's literally got no counterplay other than the Traceless. So it's all based on his mechanics, why he was selfish. And then there's Severo, who's like, yo, Keyboy, you better do your thing. You better start walking up because I can't afford to do that.
Yeah, and for ONIC, you see for majority of these fights, as the game went to the latter portion, there's always 3 members alive. Severo, Kyrie, and the Sans, who this time it wasn't a secondary carry. It's like a secondary peeler and roamer for the 2 dudes that you really need to survive.
That's what I was saying. I'm in one of the fights, it was clear, like Sans, because of the way he plays, the way he positions, and the threat of the beacon too, like, and the lantern flare, like, it's so good to be able to go ahead and peel or initiate if you need to. And I think Sans really played that part. Like, he was in a way a little bit of like a punching bag, but he had to be. Like, he had to be that guy in a lot of these team fights that broke out, and it allowed Severo and Kyrie to have the positioning that they had.
Yeah, I have a fun little fact for both of you gentlemen. So, as you all know, MLBB at the Esports World Cup is record-breaking in terms of viewerships, and we are actually breaking a record right now.
Right now?
1 million PCU has been advanced. There are over 1 million people watching this series right now. This Group A matchup between ONIC and CFU, our match of the day. We are at around 1,151,612. That is our current peak concurrent viewers. Thank you very much. Here is your code to redeem. 1 game, 2 champs. Scan the QR code as well if you don't want to do the whole process, but you can do whatever. But again, thank you very much for joining us for what has been a pretty epic matchup so far, with game 1 being shocker. CFU, they're so ready. They just absolutely stomped ONIC. What's going to happen in the second game? We get the emotional, mechanical roller coaster. And now I am even more excited for game 3, knowing also that we have a million+ viewers watching us.
Hey, it's the best kind of games. It's not boring for our million+ viewers out there. It's really interesting to see these teams like slowly make these micro adjustments, and that are very impactful in the game, in very big ways. And I think for all of you out there, to our Cambodian as well as our Indonesian fans, keep supporting. Who's going to win this match? It's 1-1 so far. Do you think that the draft is going to change? Because I feel like the only thing that could spice things up even more is if this case, CFU is the one who ended up dropping game number 2.
Yeah.
They take red side instead of blue.
I think that's the big difference. They swap sides, and then maybe aside from 1 or 2 of the heroes, I think we still see similar heroes banned. But they are going to we'll see if they swap sides.
Yeah, because I have a feeling here, if we're going to see the similar sides again, CFU blue, ONIC red, I think ONIC's going to walk away with it. We've seen enough adjustments from there.
I think that CFU is more inclined to actually hold on to the blue side, to be perfectly honest here. I feel like ONIC don't mind being on the red side, but if they could be on blue, if they do go on blue, how does the priorities end up changing, right? Because does that mean, now Lupti, guess he gets to play Uranus now. Wow, so much fun.
Kalea.
You know what? I hope we do get to see a Uranus here this time. I'm starting to miss him. I am starting to miss him. By the way, we also have really awesome support chests available for you as part of our MSC event in the in-game client of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Only 20 diamonds to purchase the MSC support chest. So if you still do not have the pass and you'd rather not get into that right away, you can use a support chest as a means to do that. At the same time, even draw the Atlas Rune Sentinel skin, the old MSC skin from I believe 2022.
Yeah,
he was it 23?
Oh wait, wasn't the
Farsa was
2022?
Yeah, Atlas was the one in Cambodia.
Yeah,
I remember.
2023.
A really awesome animation that we have there. So yeah, go ahead, check that out. And there's also up to 1,000 MSC coins that could be yours as well. So it's not just the esports side, the broadcast side that you're getting a lot of good stuff. In game 2, there's a lot of treats for everyone who loves MLBB. Game number 3, I like the discussion that we were on about the draft, changing things up. Sorry, remind me here, who gets selection for game 3?
It should be CFU because they were the recent team who lost.
Because they're the team that recently lost. So, all right, maybe behind the scenes, we can try to discuss a little bit more, see what could happen for CFU if they do go onto the red side and choose to go that for game number 3. But for now, we have to listen in on ONIC's story and the road to EWC.
Halo, nama saya Gilang, nickname saya Sans, role saya mid lane. Yang pastinya gue senang banget udah bisa berada di MSC 2025. Pasti senang banget lah, soalnya ini kan bisa dibilang turnamen yang sangat bergensi juga. Terus banyak player-player yang lumayan cukup berkualitas juga di sini. Yang aku ingat kemarin juga lumayan cukup sedih yang kita jauh-jauh dari Indonesia terus ke Riyadh cuman buat kita pulang pertama. Jadi nggak mau pulang pertama lagi, kita pengen sampai turnamennya selesai.
It's better than the ONIC teams of the past from Indonesia that just dominated. This time they were tested, they struggled, they rose above that, and I think that just makes better teams.
Bekerja keras juga untuk menangin turnamen ini, jadi yang pastinya saya pengen juara di season ini lagi. Terus yang pastinya saya kayak kasih yang terbaik di setup match-nya dan ya beri yang terbaik terus.
That was a Gilang Sans as the focal point there. Of course, we saw the one from CFU earlier where the focal point was the mid laner in OP. And it's good now that, funnily enough, we focus on the mid laners in terms of talking about the road to EWC, talking about the potential draft happenings for this game number 3. Gideon, you mentioned something to me about a mid lane priority matchup here, because Zetian hasn't been doing that great so far this series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take it away from either one of these mid laners. They are good at what they do, but Zetian just doesn't seem to be the right answer in a majority of these cases, right? We've seen that so far in terms of her raw pushing power, especially in the early game, is kind of okay. You would like to use that more to trade against your opponents.
Yeah.
I think that Farsa might just be opened up in just a little bit. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. We're not spicing things up. We're just resetting it back down. It's a BO1 right now, and CFU kick things off with a fanny ban naturally.
And they're still on the blue side.
Still on the blue
So
side.
they still want to go for that. That's fine, I guess. But like you guys mentioned, I think for the most part, ONIC has figured out how to adjust throughout this draft. I mean, we'll see if we still see similar bans from them. They let the R-Lot go earlier, game 1. They ended up banning that out. This time around, like you said, it's still the Fanny and the Lancelot. So, I don't know, is priority, like, do we still think that CFU is actually going to priority Boxy here, or do they switch things up? Because there's the Uranus ban.
Yeah, I think a slight switch up. Oh, I thought they would somehow consider opening up the option of not banning the Farsa and even going for a surprise Farsa first pick, similar to what we saw earlier in the day for Team Liquid. But no, they're both leaning into what they want to do. So, real quick, CFU, do you still want to go for the Fredrin type, or just change up what you're supporting it with?
Like a straight up Kalia opener again? I don't know. I feel like the Kalia opener is always going to be safe.
And that is what they go for.
It is, yeah, it's usually what they go for. But at this point, what are they going to pair it up with? Because the last time the big problem was the fact that the adjustment from the side of ONIC was really, really good. They're going to go for Yi Shin. I'm guessing they're also going to go for the Badang. If it doesn't, if it hasn't broken, why fix it, right?
Yeah.
And the big issue is the fact that, ONIC doesn't mind giving you priority, but they will tax you heavily as you are walking off. That is the big issue here that I see from CFU's side, because as much as you want Kalia to kind of top you up, unless you have a Kimmy on your side that allows you to be like, I have the early damage to fight back against you, then it's a different case.
I wonder if they'll end up taking that here, because, yeah, there's the Badang, there's the YSS once again. Maybe do they take Kimmy in this first phase?
I wouldn't mind it, honestly. Considering that Kimmy does have the jetpack, the thrusters, so that she can reposition a little bit. If she could somehow pair that up with Flicker, if it's available for her, that would actually be really great. That it might force out some early engagements. You called it again.
Yep. Thank you.
Naisu. There's the Kimmy. And yeah, they do switch things up in terms of what they pair up with the Fredrin. Also going on with what Gideon mentioned with the mid lane pick for CFU. They get the Kimmy to pair up with the Fredrin together. And that means they can still continue the style that they've been playing without changing things too drastically.
Yeah, that's one of the main points I would expect from CFU. Because, again, you know, some of the pieces of the puzzle that they showed us in Game 1 where they just won so dominantly, it was on the fact that they had the Kimmy that really helped things out. But I still think you have to see what the last 2 picks are going to be for them to make sure that they have, you know, the damage profile there, the options of to follow through, even if they work against 2 Purifies, for example, from ONIC. You can see this, though, coming through finally is the CC. So that's going to be a pickup, which is, again, it's a popular pickup. It's a signature here, I would say, for Loopy.
Yeah, and it's a good interplay of crowd control layering between the CC and the Badang. But the Badang doesn't always necessarily need to front. You can send Lootpi to front instead, have Kiboy go for the follow-up, and vice versa. And so now CFU has another layer of, we have 2 great tempo breakers on the other side, and we're playing around the very sort of slow-moving composition around the Fredrin. The CC pickup is massive for ONIC, and it might be the main X-Factor pick right now that CFU has to consider.
With all the adjustments they've had within this first phase, right, a lot of it just boils down to just changing the order of what we pick. And I think it's a good idea, right? But the question now boils down to how many people are going to take Purify, right? Are we expecting CC to take Vengeance this time, or is she going to go for the Purify to try and protect herself specifically from getting picked off? Because keep in mind, a lot of the previous fights that we saw in game number 2, both Kiboy and as well as Lupti were priority targets for Wadu when he was on Arlet, or sometimes if they were out of position, and that's when Boxy picks him up.
Yeah. We also have to consider that maybe Detective would want to be a little bit more careful with when he's going to dish out the Appraiser's Wrath, because if he's not careful, he might just eat a whole bunch of reflective damage towards him if you have the Vengeance up on that CC right away. He'll be wondering, hey, I'm going to hit you back. That hurt me too.
Yeah, I think the other part for Detective, though, is not falling too far behind, like in terms of the levels, because that seemed to be one of the issues that they had in the previous game, and what made them too just kind of choose that, you know what, let's just brawl it out. Let's just fight it out because we don't want to go for the retribution battle here. So maybe part of that plan, part of that equation for them as we get through this last phase of these bans is allowing Detective to not fall too far behind. And maybe part of that too was ONIC just got those early kills in the early portion of the game that allowed Kyrie again to go ahead and scale up quickly.
Fourth pick. I think, yeah, this Badang is, excuse me, mid lane, and gold now is what we're going to be looking at in terms of the carries. Should ONIC just try to go for a little bit more reach?
I think, I want to go for a little bit of reach. I mean, talking about reach, this is one way of doing it. We haven't seen a Loyi in a hot second. I was curious to see what Sans wanted to do, especially when it comes down to the mid lane. Like, is this a scenario where you can actually play like a Chang'e? You're going to be playing, you know, your traditional front to back anyway, so it kind of makes sense. But I think with the Loyi, very teamfight oriented, but the recent nerfs is why a lot of people have kind of moved away. So I want to see how they're going to utilize it this time in the current patch.
I think for ONIC, it's because they're thinking about that. This feels like a teamfight counter for CFU. Kaleas, especially Fredrins, do not like seeing the Loyi on the other side, which means now Lutfi, Severo should be free to pick up the things like the carry for their gold, and maybe even the Beatrix, which pair up very well with the Loyi.
Shots come through. Hilda, Bruno on their side. I mean, they want to go right into the faces of ONIC.
And like you guys mentioned, with a Loyi over there, I don't know how that's going to completely play off. I mean, again, we haven't seen too much of Loyi previously in the recent weeks, but maybe again with this last pick, you're going up against Bruno. What do you take here? Do you go?
They still go for reach.
I forgot Granger's still open, so why not give that into the hands of Severo again?
Not surprised with the way that they played it. I do kind of wish that Bruno was switched out for Beatrix.
All right, I just want to get your I wish that there was another consideration for the Bruno, but let's see what happens there. Real quick, Gideon, who are you leaning towards for this one?
Honestly, I feel like the execution for the side of CFU is slightly easier, and I'm going to lean more into their composition.
Nice.
I'm gonna go for ONIC.
All right.
I don't want to be opposite of Gideon.
All right, to the million plus watching right now, thank you. Let us witness together who will be facing Team Liquid in this Group A at the 1-0 bracket. Will it be ONIC? Will it be CFU? Will it be Indonesia? Or will it be Cambodia?
Thanks, Ramon. We'll be bringing that sentiment into our upcoming game as we head on over into the land of Dawn. To the millions of viewers out there, welcome. This is match point currently for both of our squads. It is CFU on the blue side facing off against ONIC Indonesia on the red side. Once again, both teams refuse to switch sides. There are no traders, only warriors as they battle it out on first. Starting off with the purple buff. No surprises there. But I really wish that, you know, the Bruno was switched out for a Beatrix. There's just so many ways to get value out of the Beatrix. The raw burst damage, there's not a lot of sustain from the side of ONIC Indonesia. And even then, most of them are running with the flickers anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because Beatrix just doesn't seem to be popping up much, you know, in general, especially back in the professional leagues and the qualifiers leading all up here on the road to MSC. It just didn't seem to be one of those picks that people like to go for. The Bruno, though, on the other hand, I guess in a way, too, it kind of gives you a little bit of a, oh, hold on, already? Gonna jump in with Title Strike. Keyboy, though, is there to keep things safe. So you go ahead and just disengage from that. But still, I think the Bruno is just more of the lines of, you know, you get a little bit of damage earlier on with the 2 items, still maybe the 3 that he needs. But I think, yeah, you need that later on, that Malefic gun that's going to be crucial in comparison to the Granger specifically, who has so much more range.
Yeah, I mean, they want their late game scaling, and I think that's the most important thing for them. With the crit build, it's just, oh, the damage is through the roof. And they got to be careful, right? Because again, all these rotations are being read very well from both sides. They know they're going to be on the bottom side of the map. They want to unlock this Hilda. But even so, Wadu, it's a pretty dead lane for the most part. Lupti isn't able to manipulate the waves without the help of his team. And that's why Keyboy is here, right? If anything gets a little fishy, he can kind of neutralize the effect.
Yeah, that's what the Badang does so well. Goes ahead and messes with some of the tempo, and that's what Boxy really wants to do earlier on this Kalea. But the first turtle of the game is going to be up, so it's CFU getting in position. We see this time and time again, especially with the Fredrin. But they'll go ahead and check things out with the Mountain Chakra, and they're just forced off. They just walk on up, force CFU back. And Kyrie will go ahead and get the turtle, but still, Wadu now on the backside, looking for the first blood. They take a ton of damage. Double flickers on out here from CFU. Still, Kyrie, one shot, won't land it on Opie.
Okay, first bloods haven't been achieved. But I don't know if anybody realized that, but Sans did a very interesting move, and I think it messed with the minds of CFU, which is why they gave up so much space. And by the time they realized where Sans actually was, they couldn't take back the territory anymore. Looking at the emblem build so far, everything seems to be up to snuff, nothing too out of the ordinary. We do have common emblems being built up by Zing, not taking marksman emblems and not even taking assassin emblems of his own. He's not looking to try and win the lane. He's trying to not only survive, but make sure that he has enough mana to stay relevant. The Master Assassin's always going to be a good time, especially if we see Severo make a mistake. In terms of everything else, the only thing is Lethal Ignition coming in from Sans. He is not going for Impure Rage. He wants to hurt.
Yeah, I guess you want to do that, especially with Aloy Yi, who dealt with some of the adjustments that she's gone through, but it was well-deserved. Louis Yi and the chip for a while were on the top of some of the decisions, especially when it came to the macro play. But Wadu, not sure if he's going to be able to survive this. Mount Shocker going to be used too. That's a whole lot of damage to go on through as Kyrie will pick up the first blood.
Really good punish here. Really good punish from the side of ONIC Indonesia. I mean, Lupti understood that Wadu isn't looking to try and shove out this wave super, super fast. And now that he's got that assist, he's got the lead, and more importantly, he's got the tempo, he can now start influencing the side lanes and rotating off first. Now notice, we do see that Boxy is coming down to try and push him out of the way, allowing Wadu to walk back into the lane safely. But
Zing going for the fight. No! He hit the minion! He flickered into the bush, but he hit the minion! Oh, that feels
hurts.
bad.
Oh, that hurts so much. And Severo, the best part, Severo didn't have any energy at all. He didn't have any energy to Rhapsody. He didn't have any energy to throw out another Death Sonata. He just was auto-attacking until the very end.
All right, now, second turtle of the game, going to go up. ONIC getting pushed out of this one. Tsunami Slam to bring him into the turtle pit. They're going to go for the fight. Vengeance already going to be popped too, but Sans will be able to pick up Wadu. A double for Sans already, forcing him off. And Kyrie gets the turtle on top of it all. So ONIC will come out swinging for that objective.
And now the snowball starts to begin. The smaller mistakes coming in from CFU game and getting punished hard by ONIC Indonesia as they crack open the most valuable structure in the game, mid-tier 1. And with that, we're starting to see what CFU did to ONIC ID in game number 2, but on the opposite side, ONIC has the timings, they've got the tempo, and Lupti is in a phenomenal position right now.
He's flowing right now, man. I mean, a lot of the you said this because that's typical too. When the CC gets a lead, even if it's let's say you're getting assists, but you have that lane advantage, even built up. I think War Axe was the first item that Lupi went with. You kind of give yourself that positioning, especially around the objectives. I can just jump on in, use my current call, my vengeance, do what I need to do, and then the team will go ahead and clean up after that. And so Lupi's in a really good position to go ahead and provide that for the team. Meanwhile, too, if he's the target that gets Tsunami slammed, it's not that big of a deal for ONIC.
Yeah, and as long as he has that vengeance, right, anybody with like quote-unquote burst damage or consistent damage really starts to suffer.
Oh, Boxy gonna go in once again. Purify's gonna be used though. So Sans is okay, but saying, look at this. This is the battle of the range that ONIC has right now. Oh, Severo so close to getting another one with the Death Sonata. Keyboy now has the flicker. Oh, he won't be able to find Sing. We're going to force them off on the tier 2. Kyrie will go on in. Sans is there now as well. Nope, he has to go back to base, but Severo will pick up Detective. 2 kills for ONIC.
Ooh, boy, this game is getting real spicy, and ONIC Indonesia are making sure that they are running away with this. A 4.6k lead 6 minutes into the game, and they want to take a tier 2 alongside of it. If they do get it, they will turn this into a 5k lead.
Oh, Lupi wants that kill on Zing, but he pops the Vengeance. Won't be enough, though. And they go ahead and get on out with the diversion. The turret, tier 2, still going to be able to stand, though, with about a little bit of health left. But this next turtle is ONIC for the taking. That's going to be 3 for 3.
This is so good. I mean, Sans, despite most mid laners not wanting to play Loyi because of the new changes to that diversion, that it reveals the starting position but doesn't show your ending position. It gives too much info. So now he's using it as a mind game, if not a disengage tool. So what if you can see us? As long as the channel completes, my whole team can get on out of there. And the 2 other times that we've seen him use it, he does it in front of his opponents to keep them on their toes, to force them to double check the bushes that they had already cleared up earlier just in case.
That's why it's the perfect name for an ultimate, man. It's literally a diversion, you know, and when Loyi is on play, you really have to stay on your toes. You really have to be able to lock in and, you know how to play against this. So right now, Sans will take a shot. Also in the mid lane, Wadu in trouble. Kyrie's going to be able to pick up a kill in the jungle. Still going to be fighting. Severo gets enough movement, and he will survive anyway. So again, ONIC will be able to find 2 against CFU.
And that is an econ diff. That is a huge econ diff. 5K now turning into a 6K lead. If honestly, if ONIC didn't have that 5K, Boxy probably would have been able to pick up Severo anyways. Wadu probably would have still died regardless, but even so, it's a very worth it trade for EXP and as well as gold. In this case though, ONIC currently 6 kills up on CFU Gaming, and they're now just waiting for the neutral objective. They're walking into enemy territory to deny as much econ as possible while still making sure that Kyrie has a very efficient path. 3-level lead, might I add, against Detective.
It's the same thing that I was saying, you know, that we mentioned from the previous game. And even with that, diversion, they're going to go in for it. They be able to find 2. Boxy's gone, and Wadu to follow. ONIC comes through with the diversion, and Zing has nowhere to go. He's going to just get run down. He's running for the turret. Maybe I can get a little extra gold before I go down as he falls as well. ONIC in control, and they'll take the Lord.
Yep, and even Kyrie committing his retribution, knowing that once he dies, then he has nothing to worry about. There's no way that Detective is going to walk up and try and steal this from me. Not with my entire team covering the entire map, making sure that this filter net doesn't allow CFU Gaming to take space.
The next target here is see if they can get some more resources before this push in with that Lord. Right now, they're staring down for CFU an 8,000 gold deficit to work against, and even with, you know, Keyboy's got the flicker available. If they want to force a fight in the base, they will. Boxy taking a couple too many shots. A Loopy will go in to clean up after the Destinatas all land from Severo. But now looking for more, still with a numbers advantage. ONIC ready to possibly push into this base fully here as Kyrie walks in with the Lord.
Yep, ONIC ID are clearly, they are in the driver's seat. They have momentum on their side. No way.
Oh, whoa, whoa, Keyboy jumps on into the base. He gets taken out, but they're gonna force the fight anyway. Lord's still gonna be up, and Zing is gone. Severo's unleashed. Still trying to hold on. Tsunami Slam to be able to find Loopy. Loopy will fall. The base could be locked on, but Wadu is gonna be the next target. Severo still shooting off from the backside. Looking for Detective. They'll clean out the lanes.
Oh my god.
But they still have minion waves pushing on in. And that's going to be it. Detective jumps on in. Severo will lock on, and ONIC will take the series 2-1.
Hey, a little disrespect